Right, so we have the confirmation from Ukrainian officials from intelligence and Ukrainian military command that Ukraine targeted the Russian Cyclone ship. It was done a couple of days ago. Some of the information about this attack leaked to the press, especially from the Astra News. It's the Russian opposition source. They say that 2 of the attackers' missiles hit the area where the ship was parked, causing severe damage to this vessel. They relied on anonymous eyewitnesses. As you understand, not a reliable source, but this time Ukrainian officials confirmed that. At the same time, I'm still waiting for any sort of the video or photo confirmations from satellites or pictures taken by the eyewitnesses. But now I tend to lean that this information is correct. Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go. Plus, we also have the information about it from the Russian sources, not just from the opposition media, but from the Russian pro-Z military bloggers. The ship itself is the Corvette class and able to carry missiles to target ground targets on the shore. By the way, Ukraine has already targeted one of those ships. It happened on November 4th, 2023. The ship name was Asgold and it was hit with Scalp EG missile. Well, if this information is correct, and definitely Cyclone or Cyclone ship was hit with cruise missile or ATACMS, it means that basically Russia lost all of the capabilities to launch any sort of the missiles from their ships from the Sevastopol area. They moved the rest of their rocket launchers to Novorossiysk, and from that port they are unable to target Ukrainian infrastructure. So there's a high probability that Ukraine again sees the operation of the Black Sea Navy near Crimea. My friends, if you want to support the job that I do on YouTube daily, you may join my Patreon page. You may find it in the video description just below or scan the QR code available on the screen. Thank you so much for your awesome support. Russia has just started their tactical nuclear drills, which they promised to begin a few days ago. The purpose of the drills is to check their low and middle range nukes, like for example Iskanders. By the way, Russia supplied those to Belarus. Now it's the joint exercise between Russia and Belarus. They also check the tactical nuclear missiles and bombs that could be launched from the airplanes, like from these kind of the jets. It's MiG-31, something like that. So definitely Russia is escalating from the military perspective, but today they also start to escalate from the diplomatic way. As sources say, Russia has decided to change the country's maritime borders with Lithuania and Finland. We're speaking about the Baltic Sea. According to the document prepared by the Russian Defense Ministry, they intend to declare the part of the water area in the eastern Gulf of Finland, as well as the near cities of Baltijsk and Zelenogradsk in the Kaliningrad region, as the Russian internal sea waters. So this is Finland, this is the Russian border, St. Petersburg, Helsinki, and here we have the Gulf of Finland, and there are some of the islands between Finland, Estonia and Russia. So Russia wants to take, I would say, more territories, more sea waters around, for example, the island of Somers. From the photos, it's kind of the deserted place, but nevertheless could be used by Russia to expand their territorial gains or the sea wars. There is also the list of the other islands. I shared it on my Telegram channel. You may find the link for my Telegram channel in the video description just below. There I regularly update the information about what is happening in Ukraine. And as you can see, not only. Also, they want to expand their territorial waters near Narva River. By the way, this area where Russians, ethnical Russians, live in Estonia. At least the majority of the population speak Russian in this place. Also, Russia plans to do the similar stuff with Kaliningrad waters. Kaliningrad is the remote place of the Russian territory locked between Lithuania and Poland. Officially, Russians say that the current coordinates do not fit reality because they were done according to the old maps released in 1985 by USSR and do not correspond to the current geographical situation. Well, we understand that it is just the excuse. They start to do this stuff, at the same time they start to perform the tactical nuclear drills. They want to push NATO and escalate. For now, Russian officials still afraid to escalate hard. That's why they came out with this idea to send the signal to the West that they're ready to take more ground, they're ready probably to use tactical nukes and so on. Well, the NATO countries should still consider it as the threat. But I don't think that Russia is willing to fight with NATO countries at the current stage. Their goal is the war in Ukraine, and they want to trade Ukraine with the Western allies. showing that they are willing to take more risks. But Ukraine at some points were able to stop or slow down the Russian advancement, even if we speak about the Kharkivsky region. In this area, there were no any changes for today. Here there are some. As you probably know, Russians enter Vovchansk, but for today they didn't proceed forward. There are some urban fights ongoing. Russia is still unable to send their heavy weaponry to Vovchansk. All of the recalls are kaboomed on the way by Ukrainian FPV. But what Russians did today, they expanded this gray area, so they understood that they are unable to take the city straight ahead. That's why they're heading eastbound to search for the place where they might cross the river to go behind Ukrainian positions. So let's check the timeline. Yesterday, today they occupied few of the fields. The same confirmation we have from the Miko 73 source, so Russia is now bypassing the city, probably in the future trying to encircle it from the other side. I'll see how it goes, but I think that Ukraine already has defense in the place, especially settlements. They could be used as the defense lines. If we speak in general about the Ukrainian defense, really it wasn't done properly. We saw it at the first days that Russia started this offensive. However, the main defense lines are located more to the south, so Russia is still unable to reach those. But still, they're not very robust. There are many of the gaps in those if we trust some of the satellite images shared on the internet. With the Russian border, there was only place where the defense lines were properly built, and it is over here near Neskuchne. That's why Russia avoided the direct strike on this position at first. They tried it later on after performing two of those attacks, but were stopped by Ukraine, and Ukraine even performed some small counterattack in the place, pushing Russians to their territory. But still, Russians control the half of the field there. And based on the scale of the Russian offensive in Kharkiv, I think they will take a few more settlements, and that's it. For the further movement to Kharkiv, they need many more forces, which they are in lack of because they moved some to Sumy Oblast. We know for sure that Russia concentrated their forces. They even built some sort of the convoy on their territory to enter Ukraine. Well, we'll see how it goes in the coming days. The bad thing that Kharkiv and Sumy are not that far away from the Russian border, and they are quite big cities, especially Kharkiv. So maybe Russia might try to reinforce their army in the place, trying to encircle the cities, which they weren't able to do in 2022, but still maybe they have this goal later on to trade those cities for something. Or maybe to push allies that it's useless to help Ukraine with the weaponry, because even with that help, Ukraine continued to lose territories, but help needs time to arrive in Ukraine. It's not that easy job, especially with logistics across the ocean. You probably know that Russia intensified the missile strikes on Ukrainian territory, collapsing many of the Ukrainian substations and power plants. And actually, it's the useless thing to rebuild those because Russia might strike power plants again. At the same time, Ukraine is searching for more air defense systems like SAM-T and Patriots, but there is no huge success in that field. For this reason, Ukraine and NATO are working on some certain plan to protect at least the part of Ukrainian territory. The information about the plan started to appear in the mass media sources, and it was also confirmed by Zelensky today. The idea is to shut down the missiles at least over the western territory of Ukraine using the western jets. Those could be from any sort of the country, but based, for example, in Romania. The idea is to launch the missiles to target the Russian attacks, not from Ukrainian territory, but at the very border from it. By doing so, the economy of at least the part of Ukrainian regions will be functional. Otherwise, Ukraine will be in a very big problem without electricity. What saves Ukraine now are the few nuclear power plants that are still left on Ukrainian-controlled territory. Russia hesitates to target those for the known reason, but we can't exclude that someday Russia might strike even those. But some of the politicians from our Western allies, for example from Germany, do not agree with that decision or with that plan. So Chancellor Scholz criticized the plan to create the no-fly zone over the western territories of Ukraine. He called the plan the unsafe blah blah blah, which might intensify the war. As we see, Chancellor Scholz is scared to escalate. He was scared providing Ukraine with Leopard 2 tanks and only agreed on that under the pressure from the United States. Taurus missiles are still not in Ukraine, but at the same time, Germany supports Ukraine with other weaponry that was already negotiated. Also, Patriot systems and RST were delivered from Germany, so we cannot say that Germany totally did not support Ukraine, but the policy of Scholz is understandable. He wants to fix the current status quo with no any escalations, but at the same time we see the escalation from the Russian side with their nuclear drills or with the plans to expand their sea waters. Meanwhile, Zelensky insists that the plan should be agreed with Western allies. Well, maybe it could be done without Germany. Ivan Popov, probably the best Russian general who commanded the defense of the Russian army during the Ukrainian counterattack the last year in Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, was arrested by the Russian authorities today. As sources say, on suspicion of fraud. Popov always said the things as they are for the Russian army: poor training, incompetent command, heavy losses in the mid-waves, so he wanted to change these tactics. He criticized Gerasimov and Shoigu, and some say that he was supporter of Prigozhin's policy. That's why he was removed from his position in Ukraine and sent for 6 months to Syria. And now he's in Russia being prosecuted for fraud, which is elsewhere in the Russian army. There no any saint general exists. But this one is really competent. Russian soldiers like him. He's really popular among the simple Russian army men. So by detaining this general, Russia actually helps Ukraine, because it is profitable for us, for Russia to have the incompetent military command. Recently there were tons of the changes within the Russian army command, but all of those replacements will not change the system itself. It is damn corrupt. It is unprofessional, and what Russian army has is just enormous resource, which they do not hesitate to use in Ukraine with all of those mid-waves, causing Russian severe losses. Tucker Carlson was spotted on the Russian TV channels. Well, he didn't record the video especially for the Russian program, but Russians start to translate his show and publish on their main media TV, because Carlson's rhetoric fits perfectly into the Russian propaganda. The Carlson's team claims that there are no any deals done with the Russian state TV. You may see the full statement on the screen, but Russian media would never ever take the material from Carlson without his agreement, because it's the legal stuff first of all. So now Carlson should sue the Russian TV corporations. And the levers for that still exist, but I don't think that Carlson would mess with the Russian TV media. I think that after all they support each other. Ukraine and the European Union push to start membership talks in June. Guys, even though we have those kind of the inspiring news about the future Ukrainian membership in the European Union, but with the current laws introduced in Ukraine, Ukraine is unable to join, physically unable to join the European Union. Basically, Ukrainian government doesn't follow Ukrainian constitution nowadays, so how this country could be a member of the European Union with those laws? Yeah, Ukraine had to do it because of the war, but still it is not possible to achieve until the war stops and all of the human rights, let's say, are restored in Ukraine. Yeah, obviously we have those talks for quite a long time, maybe even for years. Guys, I'm not really a Eurosceptic. If Ukrainian people do support to join the European Union, I would also support that. But again, we need to say the things as they are. It is not possible at the present time. Also, Hungary, I think, will not support this idea, at least with its current government. The flag of the United Nations near the headquarters of that organization in New York went down a little. Why? Just to show the sign of solidarity with Iran after the helicopter's accident? What a crazy world we live in. Raisi personally was responsible for many of the death penalties many years ago. Because of him, thousands of people lost their lives. Oh my god, United Nations. Yeah, definitely it's like that. The United Nations headquarters in New York City lowered its flag to half-mast as the mark of respect for the passing of Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi. Face palm. It was funny to watch the Russian Solovyov propaganda show dedicated to that air crash. They presented the internet meme that Mossad agent Helicopter is responsible for that stuff. Well, maybe they do not know English, but it's internet meme about the helicopter itself. Helicopter is helicopter. In Russian, helicopter is vertolyot, so different sounds and different word itself. And Solovyov, with a serious face, quoted this internet meme in the Russian studio. It's crazy, but Russians like it. They believe him that the ancient helicopter was responsible for that stuff. Alright, the perfect decision from the European Union. They'll now confiscate the dividends from the Russian assets and send those to Ukraine. Initially, we are speaking about 2.8 billion euros. We have the information about it from the Czech foreign minister. Yeah, we're speaking not about all of the Russian assets, but just the percentage which those assets earn being in the banks. Well, at least we have this first step, and 2.8 billion is quite a lot. Netherlands will send more of the army vehicles to Ukraine. We are speaking about YPR 765 BMP type of the vehicles. Well, actually, Ukraine needs more of the heavy armored vehicles plus tanks. This year, so far, Ukraine was capable to negotiate the Leopard tanks delivery with Spain. That's it. The last year, Ukraine had much more support compared to what is happening right now. Well, anyways, the deal to support Ukraine from the United States was approved, and we expect more of the army units to be sent to Ukraine. The Yemeni Houthis shot down fifth of the American MQ Reaper drone. It happened in Yemen airspace. I have full video and I'll share it on my Telegram channel. Just 5 days ago, Houthis shot down MQ Reaper, and here again. Do you know how it could happen? Well, Iran supplies munition for Houthis and also air defense systems. That's why they are able to do it. So it was really, really fast. We have some of the satellite image showing the strike, the result of the strike of Ukrainian Storm Shadow on the Russian military academy building not far away from Luhansk. So definitely the building is no-go. I told you about the strike yesterday in my video. Also, according to the information spread by some of the Russian military bloggers, Gennady Aleshkin, this guy, it's Colonel General of the Russian army, the commander of the South Army itself, could be in that particular building at that particular time, but we don't have any other confirmation about it, just the messages from the Russian sources. Well, we'll see if it gets confirmed. For Ukraine, it would be awesome. About Robotyne, everything is the same. Ukraine still controls the part of that village. But if we go to the Chasiv Yar, not far away really from Bakhmut, there Russia moved a little today. Let's go to the timeline. It was yesterday and it is today. They occupied some sort of the building out there. For a very long time, Russia was standstill in this direction before they advanced towards this forest and were stopped by Ukrainian side, later on concentrated on their attacks in the Kharkiv region, and now probably they want to advance again in Chasiv Yar. My friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.